Hi, everybody. Ms. Lee here. So we're going to go ahead and talk about finite geometric series when you're not given a rule. So basically, maybe you have to write this rule, maybe you don't. So if I ask you to, on a test or a quiz, write some series in summation notation, then you need to write the rule. If I just ask you for the sum, then of course you don't have to write the rule, but you need to be able to find the sum. And so I'm going to go ahead and do an example of that. So in general, when you're doing something like this, you need to, at the very least, you need to find what A is, what R is, and what N is. So those are the three things that you always have to find in order to do any of these types of problems. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the problem is that we're going to go over is write the sigma notation and find the sum of the first 11 terms of the series 4/3 plus 2 plus 3 plus ... So this goes on. We don't necessarily know what the next terms are, but maybe we need them, maybe we don't. So if you wanted to write a rule for this, and use the format of the geometric series that we had before, you just need A, N, and R. So A is your first term. What is the first term? Well, that is 4/3. N is the number of terms, and it tells you in the problem we're using 11 terms, so this is 11. And R is our common ratio. So that's basically what number you multiply by to get from one term to the next term. So if you think about that, basically you're doing 4/3 times what number is 2, and then 2 times what number is 3. And so you can basically just divide one term by the previous term. So if you do 3 divided by 2, that'll get your R. So if you do like any term divided by its previous term, you should get your R. So 3 divided by 2 is just 3 halves. Alternately, if you did 2 divided by 4/3, ideally you get the same R. If you get a different R, then you did something wrong. So, or it's not a geometric series. So we do 2 divided by 4/3, which is the same as 2 times 3/4, because when we divide, we multiply by the reciprocal. And then 2 times 3/4, if you think about that, that's 6/4. And 6/4 is the same as 3 halves. So 6/4 equals 3 halves. So that is, in fact, our common ratio. So just a reiteration, for our common ratio, divide one term by previous. For this one, this is going to be the number of terms. And this is the first term. Okay, so let's go ahead and write it in sigma notation. And so using the format of what we were told before, we do sigma, and then we do k equals 1. So we start at 1 up until 11 because n is 11. And then A, so 4/3, times R, which is 3 halves, to the n minus 1 or k minus 1 power. So this, in this case, we used k. So it'll be to the k minus 1 power. And that's our sigma notation. Now we also have to find the sum. And if you remember, the formula for the sum is S equals A times 1 minus R to the n power all over 1 minus R. And so we'll just go ahead and plug each of those in. So let's just go ahead and highlight those appropriately. So A is 4/3. So that was this. And then R is 3/2. So we'll plug that in for R. And then N is 11. And we'll plug that in right there. Okay, so then the sum is going to be A, which is 4/3, times 1 minus 3/2 to the n power, divided by 1 minus 3/2. Sorry, this n here is 11. So 3/2 to the, so we're going to have 3/2 to the 11 power over here. So 1 minus 3/2 to the 11 power, all over 1 minus 3/2. Okay, if you're in my class, you can leave it like this as your expression. If your teacher wants you to round it, you can put this in your calculator. And we have 4/3 times in parentheses, and so the parentheses are super important. 1 minus, and then again, parentheses for the 3/2 to the power of 11, divided by, and then 1 minus 3/2. So you get 227.993, and always round to the third decimal place. Okay, and there you have it. That's how you find the sigma notation and slash or the sum of a finite geometric series when you're not given an explicit rule. Good luck, happy day.